Hi, Twila. What has been preparing the team and with Emma being able to address them and I guess just describe what it's been like, that dynamic in camp with you in charge and Emma also getting to meet the players for the first time.
Yeah, it's been really great. It's been very, very natural. There's been good communication ahead of time, and this has just felt like another great step. There's definitely a sense of belonging where the group is really excited to get back together, integrate some new players, and also a lot of excitement and a really like new feeling just having Emma around. She's been focused on player relationships and starting to get to know them, and I've been focused on the day-to-day, and it's been a really good mix and enjoyable, and we're excited about our next game.
Wait for the mic. Michelle, go ahead, and then Meg.
Hi, Twila. Michelle Kaufman for the Miami Herald. What imprint of Emma's might we? It's so early, but what imprint might be visible in this game tomorrow? Just anything from culture to tactics to anything. Will anything look different to the average person who's watching or to us? Do you think anything will look different?
I think you all get an opportunity just to have a look for yourself in the games. We're focused on competing against an opponent, and I think that that's information that should stay in-house and stay within our team and is up for you guys to observe and enjoy.
Just after the September and October friendlies, does this camp feel maybe like the start of something new, like there is a clear before and after now for you?
Yeah, I definitely think it's both. There's a lot of newness, there's a lot of excitement. Some things that we've been strategically holding back on are happening now, which is very exciting. And there's that feeling of just direction that the players have. I think they're very, very comfortable. But also it's just a next step into the evolution of moving in the direction that ultimately will go with Emma in charge. And the starting point is where we just left off, which was a really good place in our last game.
Just in terms of players who are able to help you guide the team through this moment, obviously, you know, Lindsay Horan, team captain, but Rose Lavelle, Emily Sonnet to some extent, like what are those relationships like for you just to, you know, this roster is very different having someone like a Lindsay Horan being in camp right now?
Yeah, all three of those players that you just mentioned have been wonderful, wonderful to work with all along. And as my role has evolved and their role is evolving, we're evolving together, which has been great. But we're looking for leaders from every direction. There's space and room for players to step up and evolve in their roles and also in a leadership capacity. And you see it in lots of different ways in the environment, around the hotel, at trainings, and hopefully in games, that different people are starting to step up, and that's been wonderful. But yes, of course, all three of those players are very special human beings and players and are helping to drive the ship in some way or another.
Let's go to Lakin, then back to Michelle, then to Dan. Go ahead.
Hey, Twila. With Emma being here this week and you're still kind of like obviously in a transition period, but I don't know if this is the right word, but do you yourself feel kind of like rejuvenated? Like, okay, we have our plan. She was here. We were together. Now we're moving forward.
This is like the best job in the world. I could not be more excited than I already was. To represent this team, to have the ability to lead, and now have the ability to lead with Emma and a future direction. And yeah, it's exciting to be able to move in a continued direction that everybody's on the same page about. But no, I'm just as excited as I've ever been, and so are the players. And I think that what you're seeing is, hopefully we'll see, is the compounding of excitement with where we are and with Emma being here and a very clear direction.
Back to Mel.
I have two quick ones. One, I'm just wondering how Rose is doing since it's her first, her first time back, and just how does she look? And then also the new players who are in their first camp. What have you seen from them? You know, it's a big step coming into the camp. Mm-hmm. What do you see from the new younger players? Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Rose is in very good form. She was, for those of you that got to watch the NWSL final, I thought she was excellent, and she's excellent today. So we're really excited about just her being healthy, being in the environment, and her feeling good, and we expect big things from her. The new players are integrating really well. Some of them have traveled from great distances, others are coming off, a final and things like that, but they're doing really good. the group is doing a good job of including them, and they're doing a really good job of following directions and really understanding what the environment is about. I would say they're all excelling, and the group has looked really good at training. There's a great vibe in the group, lots of excitement around Emma being here, and also lots of excitement about being around each other, which is one of the things that Emma has emphasized in the group, continuing to stay close and get close and what that actually looks like in an environment. So things are headed in a really good direction.
One more quick one.
Of course,
China.
your town.
What are you expecting from China? I just want to talk a little about the game tomorrow. What might that look like? What do you see from them? You know, what do you think about that matchup?
Yeah, we're more focused on us. Of course, China's a very formidable opponent. They historically have played a certain way. They have a new coach coming with them, a few changes in their lineup. So we always say that part of the job is to not over-assume and to actually look at what's happening and adjust on the fly. But I would assume they'll be very organized. They'll be maybe in a mid-block or a lower block at times for extended period of times, that they will slide and shift very aggressively and be very difficult to play against, which is great for us because it gives us an opportunity to work on some of the things that we've been trying to get better at, which is on the ball and our possession against very organized teams.
Very similar kind of question, really, but it's more probably just about what are you hoping to achieve from this pair of games, obviously to round out the year? What's the key focus for you?
Yeah, well, I want to win. We all want to win. And we want to see some different combinations of players and players integrating into the environment, but obviously not all at once, because a true judge of how somebody might integrate in is that they would integrate in the lineup they might actually play with. So slowly starting to add more players into the mix, make sure we have an opportunity to evaluate them. Also start to really look at combinations of players and who's playing well together and start to outlining those sort of things. I want to see a continued progression of some of the things that we've been working in within our group in terms of our possession, and also the freedom to try some new ideas and some of the things that we've been working on this week. I'm looking forward to seeing some bravery, more bravery from our players. They've displayed some great bravery, but more aggressive going forward. And I'm excited to see that.
Looks like we got some virtual ones over there. Let's go with Jeff Kassouf first. Go ahead, Jeff.
Thanks, Aaron. Thanks, Twila. Hopefully you can hear me.
Yep.
Cool. Twila, I want to ask you about Emma Vignola. I'm wondering, what is it about her game that you and the coaching staff identified in that sort of scouting or maybe observation process, ahead of that first call up for her that you thought would be beneficial to the U.S., to the national team? And maybe now that she's been in some camps, what are you hoping maybe she can progress and refine for this international level?
Yeah, so Emma, we've been tracking all sorts of players in the league for different positions and depth. Obviously, having a left foot, quality left foot has been key. So we've been tracking her for a good while. She got her first opportunity when a change was needed, and I think that was based on injury, if I recall correctly. Came in, did a good job in her first couple camps, good first minutes, and she's a left back that can kind of play higher and be really aggressive as she likes to go forward. She's also a left back that can play a little bit lower, which is important for versatility. She's also played left center back with her club, which is an interesting thing to look at. And we're looking at, getting to know her better as a player right now and what her super strengths are and where she might fit in the program moving forward. And that versatility within that position is very important.
Let's go to Seth Vertelny. Go ahead, Seth.
Thanks, Aaron. Thanks, Twila. I wanted to ask about Corbin Albert. This is her first full week with the senior team. How have you seen her fitting in, and what kind of role do you expect her to fill for this team, given she has the ability to play multiple different positions in midfield?
Well, she's done a great job. I don't think it's easy to fly in, coming off the games that she's come off of. She's playing a bigger and bigger role at her club. And obviously they're at a very important part of their season with domestic league and Champions League and things like that. And then coming in across is not easy to do. So she's come in, she's acclimated really well on a physical level. She's integrated with the group really well. She's taking in information. She's very, very studious. And I know we've alluded to this before, but that we have all sorts of different mechanisms for teaching, and I think I've seen her with an iPad every time walking around the hotel. At training, she's the first one to get on a ball, I've noticed, and she's the last one there with the ball, which has been great to see, getting her touches in and things like that. We have been integrating her in at training in multiple positions, and we'll decide shortly how we'll use her in the games.
Let's go to Jonathan Tannewald. And then last, looks like
Thanks,
Adam is
Aaron.
next. and
Thanks,
then we'll
Twila, as
finish.
always.
Sorry,
for
go ahead.
the time.
Go
And
ahead, JT. Sorry.
It's another question about Corbin Albert, which I'm sure will shock you. But, you usually talk about how when you have a national team camp, it's usually only one day to get out on the field with the players. And this week, having an extended period of time, how much does that help to see a player who maybe you don't get to see as much because the coaching staff isn't over in Europe as much as it would be if a player was over here and you could just get on a domestic flight and go watch? Thanks.
Yeah, well, to the second part of that first, obviously anytime you can see a player in person, that is helpful and gives more context, but we do have tactical footage of all of her games and have been watching since long before the World Cup, so we're very familiar with her and what her progression has been with the club, what type of roles she's played with the club, which has been very different in her time there. And coming in, it's been wonderful to have extra days. I think, is it 4 days of training, which has been huge. And it's not just the 4 days of training, but the time we get in the hotel to prep for those trainings and review those trainings and things like that. So it's been excellent. She's in a great space to be able to functionally perform her job with understanding of the people around her, what her exact role within kind of the subgroup in her line that she'd be playing with, but also the people behind and in front of her. And it's been very, very helpful. And obviously, every coach would love to have their players for a longer period of time. So the more we can get, the better, and it's obviously beneficial.
Go ahead, Adam.
Thank you, Twila. When it comes to training and tactical philosophy, can you give us any detail on what's different now that Emma has been announced as coach? Like, how have things changed?
Our training, I'm running the day-to-day right now, and the training philosophy hasn't changed since I've taken over. We're working in big groups and then subgroups and giving a lot of individual detail and then putting it together in a way that they can quickly take on and apply information for games. Obviously, as our staff start to integrate and work more and more with each other, she'll have bigger influence on the types of training, and I'm totally open right now to any and all feedback that we can get from a master coach like Emma. But she is focused on Chelsea, and I'm focused on the day-to-day here, and we're more collaborating on higher level concepts that will help us move forward together in the future.
Excellent. Anything else in the room? Last one goes to Lakin. Here comes Illy.
I think the last time we spoke with you, you said that when you were getting your coaching license, you studied Emma. Just wondering if you told her that and what her reaction was, and just that little story when you told her that.
Well, I didn't have to tell her, because one thing you learn about Emma is she's very thorough. And actually, I haven't told this part to her, but I kind of wondered when I started digging around and doing my research for my pro license, when I finally got to interview some of her staff around her, if they were actually using it to find out what outsiders could find out about her. So she is very, very thorough. She obviously knew. I did not talk to her during that time frame, but she obviously knew that I was doing that. And she could probably tell you more about what I know about her than I can. So, but no, it's been great. It's felt really natural in some ways, and I think it's just how we are as human beings. I just feel like I've known her forever already. It's been a really smooth and easy transition, and maybe from the outside it could look hard to figure out how that's going to work, but it's really easy to collaborate and be open and share with her on both a human and professional level.